and welcome to the Wandering Wolf YouTube channel. I am your host, Mark Rhodes. Alongside me is my friend and fellow Wolves lifer, Mr. Craig Forward. How are you, mate?
How are we all doing? Yeah, I'm really good, thanks, mate. Excited?
Fantastic. Well, we've got a fantastic, exciting player with us today. Captain Wolves, won the championship in 2009, played over 500 games in his career. It is lovely to have Jody Craddock on Wandering Wolf. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you, gentlemen. Very good.
Good to see you, Jody.
Now, I just want to ask you, like, first off, how's lockdown been for you, mate?
It's okay. It's been good, you know, in the right sense, of course. You know, I'm a painter. I'm an artist. My studio's in the house, so I literally spend. When we're out of lockdown, I will take the kids to school, or I'll take one of the kids. My wife will take the other one, and then the other lad goes to college, so it's a bit easier. So I'll take one to school, and then when I'm back, I'll literally go in the studio and I'll paint until I have to pick him up from school. So for me, it hasn't really changed. I just have now longer in the studio to paint, and I've been busier than ever. I think I've got a 4-month waiting list, which is brilliant. Which I have.
Is that one of yours behind you?
Yes.
It's pretty good, mate. That is awesome.
I always if I do a Zoom meeting, I always try and get a picture in the background.
If I had one behind me, it'd be like a stick man. So that's why we've got the sign on there instead.
I've sold stick men. Don't worry about that.
Well, you got to start somewhere, haven't you, mate? I suppose. Yeah. Now, Jody, we've got loads of questions for you, but we won't keep you long. Now, you won the championship with Sunderland 10 years before you did do with us. Can you compare the two achievements and how you felt about each of them? Because I would imagine they were quite different.
I was a lot younger at Sunderland. The year I went to Sunderland, I was only a young lad. I think I was 22 at Sunderland. That was my first season. And the first season I didn't expect to break into the team, but I broke into the team, and we got to Wembley. And I played at Wembley in my first season, which was pretty
amazing,
mind-blowing.
Awesome.
We're only a young team, so you know, he had more experienced centre halves, which then the following season they played more than what I did. So whilst it was a promotion and a brilliant promotion, we went up with like an amazing amount of points.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. But you know, I didn't get to feature that much because there was more experienced centre halves ahead of me. So you know, but the Wolves one was different because I got injured in the first game of the season. I broke my foot in the first game of the season.
Yeah,
which was rather disappointing. But then I came back. I think I came back at the right time, just after Christmas, and I got my place back, and it just seemed to click and change. I think we've just been on a bit of a iffy run for a few games, and it was just nice for me to come back in then, and just things started to click and change, and it was great to see out the season and get promotion. You know, things I'll never forget. I'll never forget the Sunderland one, but I actually got to lift the trophy with the Wolves, and it was a real special moment.
Amazing.
What's that feeling like, Jody? Go actually like walking out at Wembley, and you know all that excitement, the build up.
Really good. You know, it was the old Wembley, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
No, man, I was only a young lad. I'm thinking, this is my first season at Sunderland. I've just left Cambridge United. First season at Sunderland. I'm playing at Wembley. It's quite a lot to take in. My family there watching, and it was, it was penalties, wasn't it? It was that famous Charlton game, the penalty one.
Such an amazing game. Oh man, to be a defender in that game must have been a nightmare.
It weren't. I've only seen the game. I think I've watched the game once, and it was in lockdown a couple of months ago. It was on the telly, and I watched it, and I saw the last 45 minutes. But it was penalties, wasn't it? So, and
it wasn't dull, that's for sure, was it?
No, it wasn't. And I think I was maybe next in line to take a penalty after Mickey Gray. So,
oh really?
Can you imagine? I bet you were glad that you didn't have to.
I was glad I didn't have to.
Now, speaking of Premier League teams, have you been following the Wolves this season and how they've been going? How do you think we're doing this season?
We struggled a little this year, down to injuries. I think they play a big part in any team's success.
Of course.
You look at Liverpool's that won the title last year, and I bet if you were to look on their injury list, it was quite minimal compared to this season's. You know, they got a lot. You know, and we've got a fair few injuries this season, and it does upset that balance. You lose Jimenez, and he's such an influential player in the team. You know, he's a strong lad. He's tall. And he'll score you goals, and you know he's going to create chances week in, week out. You know, and that link-up play as with Traore is, for me, it's them two a little combination which always seems to work, and it terrorise defences. So when you lose players like that, it is a big loss. You know, and you're asking players to just step in and fill them shoes straight away, which they find difficult because it comes down to, you know, experience. When you've got a young lad coming in and he ain't got that much experience, but he's got a big heavy price tag on his shoulders, which is a lot of pressure. You know, that's a lot of pressure for him. So he feels he needs to come in and score goals straight away. The manager was probably going to ease him in slowly to learn off Jimenez, and you know, it wasn't to be. So I think things like that, you know, Podence, I think he's, fingers crossed, is he back tomorrow for the Chelsea game? So that'd be good, because he's, you know, he's like a little firecracker, and we've missed him because, you know, he's been superb for us. And I've been really impressed with him coming in. And you know, when you lose these players, you know Polly as well at the back, and
100%.
Makes it tough. It makes it tough, and it just upsets the apple cart a little bit. But you know, I'm not taking anything away from players that are coming in, but you know, it's harder to then get that consistency and that flow, which gets you results week in, week out.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Would you have liked to play in the back three?
I was a back four player.
Yeah,
I was a back four player. Cody's a back three player. He likes a bit of time on the ball. He likes to ping it about. Me, I like to mark a big centre forward and put stuck in and like cut my head open. Yeah, that was me. That was my game. That was what I wanted to do. I was involved with the nitty gritty, and that is exactly, you know, that's the type of player I was. I wasn't just, you know, give me 5-10 seconds on the ball, pass it around, you know, ping it 40 yards up the pitch to someone's feet. It wasn't my game. I know that. You know, you've got to know your strengths and weaknesses. I know that wasn't my game, but my strengths were the physical side of the game, and you know, that's how I carved out a 20-year career.
Indeed. The three centre halves that are playing for us, but predominantly you've got Cody, Bolly, and maybe Sois and Kilman switch and change. But which defender out of those four would you say you're most similar to?
Probably say, you know, Bolly.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Sois. You know, they both can go up and score from a corner.
Yeah.
And you know, they're just big, strong lads and reliable at the back, aren't they? So I don't know.
Yeah.
You tell me.
I'd definitely say Volley for me, 100%.
Yeah.
Like you just said, you know, get the job done, you know, mark somebody, get the ball out, and then, like you say, can go up the other end and, you know, get your head on a corner as well.
That's it, exactly. And you need Bolly to come up and score a header. You need Sois to, you know, score a header and come up and put one in the back of the net for you. When you aren't, you know, creating many chances, you make a corner, and you know that's a possibility to score a goal. And you need, you know, boys like that to chip in with a goal here and there. Not loads, you know. You never get this, you know, defenders aren't ever going to score loads unless you're like a Doherty that's up and down that wing.
Yeah.
You know, being involved in it. As a centre half or a left and right sided of a free, you know, you aren't going to score loads, but so it's really important, like goal to shot ratio. Usually for a defender, if you get up there and score a goal, you know, it's pretty high, that goal to shot ratio. You might have one shot a game or one header, and you end up getting a goal. So it's you know, it's really important.
It is important, isn't it? Because the defenders that we've got, like Bolly and Sois especially, they've come in with a few goals. Really, but it's through the team that we're struggling with the goals, really. So actually, the defenders are doing their bit. It's the other bit.
I was going to say the defenders are actually, you know, doing their fair share at the moment. It's the creativity in the middle of the park that we seem to be lacking with that forward line. But hopefully now we've got Willian Jose coming in. I'm not sure whether he'll be able to play tomorrow, will he? But do you think that's enough? Do you think that's enough, Jody, strengthening for this window, or would you like to see some?
I don't know. I can't give. You know, I don't know enough about him to give a proper judgment. You know, let's just hope he's I don't know. Is he tall? Is he tall-ish? You know, is he over 6 foot? I like to think he's like.
I don't know what he's tall nowadays, Jody. 5'8", 5'9", I don't know.
I think so, mate.
Cheers, buddy.
Well,
Appreciate that.
You need someone that can handle themselves. You know, he's got more experience about him, so someone's going to put themselves around and win a few headers and do a job up there. You need, pressure's on.
He looks good on some of the footage I've seen, so fingers crossed he can
absolutely
find the net because we need it.
We certainly do. Now, Jody, you played in a period, our championship winning team of 2009, and there was a certain way that you played, but with the players that you had in that team, is there any players that you think from that team would do a job for this team in the Premier League? Because it certainly looked like when we watched you in 2009 that was a team that could, really do something in the Premier League. But would you? What I'm trying to get at is, any of the best 11 in the team that you played in, does it get into this team?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
definitely. They're a good bunch of lads, and few of them players were none of them played in the Premiership anyway. So you got your Kites and who else we talked in? So Sam Vokes, he played up there.
Yeah.
I know he didn't play as many. Wardy played in the Premiership. I'm sure there's more as well in there. I can't think off the top of my head. So definitely, definitely some of them players would play in this team today. The better the players around you, it just makes you a better player. So I really think those players would definitely play in it. I've asked the question, who was the best player I played with at the Wolves, and I always think it was Sylvan Ebanks-Blake on that.
Yeah, we were talking about this, weren't we?
Yeah, just about to mention Ebanks-Blake.
When we got promoted, that year was phenomenal. And I said, Mark, he was training every day, and he'd be like a proper handful, and I'd have to work really, really hard to kind of, do my job against him in training. So, some of the goals he scored were phenomenal. I think one was Charlton, where he's...
Oh, that goal was so good.
I think that won goal of the season, didn't it, that year?
And 2 right it should have as well. What was Mick McCarthy like as a manager?
I've always said he was the best manager I've had the privilege to work with. I knew him for a short period of time up in Sunderland, and obviously longer at Wolves. Just honest. He'd be out there every day with you, talk you through things. If you weren't in the team, he'd tell you why. And if you were in the team, you knew what he needed you to do. Honest, which is all you can ask from a manager, is to be honest with you and tell you what's going on. And nobody likes being dropped and nothing like that. But if you're dropped, he'd pull you in and say, look, you're not in the team, this is why. You couldn't really argue. It was a nice bloke. He looked after his players. TC was his wingman, and I knew TC from when Dave Jones was at the club, and TC was great. He was a really good coach, knew his stuff. We used to get, at the early days when I was at Wolves, he'd get involved, and we'd have like a 5-a-side or whatever on a Friday, and I do, if you had to pick a team, I'd always pick TC to be on my team. I knew we'd be proper in there, getting stuck in. So the pair of them, they were both really, really good.
Oh, top, lovely.
And Jody, who would you say is the best striker that you played against? That wasn't Ebanks-Blake
in training.
Thierry Henry, Arsenal.
Oh wow,
he was quality. He was very,
I
very
feel
good.
sorry for you. Oh my God,
I can't even imagine that.
Oh my God,
it really made you kind of think. It wasn't just marking and heading and tackling. You had to really think about your game, because what he liked to do is he used to run the line and run in from an offside position. So he'd time it in an offside position and run along the line. So if you weren't a brave defender, then you'd end up dropping, which is exactly what he wanted. And then he'd just, they'd have the room. Or, if you were brave and you kind of knew your game, you just had to squeeze him and have confidence in yourself and your ability to kind of play the offside trap and hopefully not get caught. But, an intelligent player, you're forcing how good he is. And
yeah.
I wouldn't fancy marking him now.
No, not in that team. That
Absolutely
Arsenal
not.
team, my goodness me, that Arsenal team was unbelievable.
Yeah, crazy.
So we asked Bully this question, and he kind of gave us an answer, but he sat on the fence a little bit. I want to know, Jody, who you think's going down this season and who you think's going to win the league. I think it's really tough, but we are halfway through the season, and I think you get a general sense of where the teams are and where they're going. So, could you give us your thoughts, please, mate?
Well, it is a tough one because you pick a team and then they go and win a game, or but Sheffield United, they're down there. I'm thinking they're going to do really, really well to get out of it.
Yeah, they need snookers now, don't they? They need snookers.
Exactly. West Brom, I don't think. And don't get me wrong. I know they beat us in the derby. I think when it comes to a derby game, it's nothing to do with league position. It's the team that wants it the most on the day, and usually come out the victors. So I think West Brom are in there because they've not done enough for me this season to stay up, which is a shame because I'd actually like West Brom to be in the Premiership, and I'd want that derby game every season.
Yeah.
So for them to get relegated, I know Wolves fans will want to get relegated naturally, but I like to see those derby games, and the only way they'd see those derby games is by staying in the Premiership. So I'd like
Jody, I don't know whether we want them in the league because they always beat us, mate. I'd rather just get them in the Championships.
Yeah.
It never goes well for us. It never goes well.
We've still got to meet them one more time this season. So,
this is true. This is true.
I completely agree that we want those derby games. I mean, that's what you want as a fan, isn't it? Those days are what it's all about. So
especially when the fans come back as well. That's going to be a different level completely. So who's winning the league?
Who's winning the league? I've always been a Liverpool supporter since I was a kid. So last season was pretty good. Who's winning it though?
It's a tight one this year.
It's really tough, isn't it? Man U kind of hit a nice.
Like you say, whoever you pick, they could go on a run.
Yeah, so true. It is. It's probably as tight up there as it is down the bottom, isn't it? I didn't get your third pick for relegation. Sorry, mate. I was just like, Albion and Sheffield United are down. See you later. If anyone else, fine.
I think Fulham. I've not seen enough to convince me otherwise. They'll get a good result here and there, but I've not seen enough from them to convince me that they're strong enough to stay in the Premiership.
Fair enough.
Agreed.
Proven wrong, but then only base that on the teams above them are starting to put a couple of results together. The Brightons are kind of, they're a good footballing team, Brighton, and they can get a result. Burnley have picked up lately. It's all really tight and tough down there. So
and you're going to put us in there as well, fighting for our lives, or are we looking up now? No.
Honestly, I don't think we've got anything to worry about.
That's the spirit, Jody. That's it. That's what we want to hear.
I don't think that's just from a pure football point of view. I don't think we've got anything to worry about. Don't get me wrong, famous last words. Play this back when we've just been relegated.
This is being recorded. This is being recorded. But I hear what you're saying. It's like we've got so many injuries, and when they all come back, you look at that team on paper. That's a top 6 team. That's not a bottom 6 team. So
I know you have to deal with injuries throughout the season, and providing we do, we're going to looking at a couple of forwards and ones just come in. So obviously the injuries will start to come back slowly as well, which is great. So hopefully our luck will start to turn a little bit, and we'll start getting a couple of those green W's instead of.
Hope so, mate. I hope so.
I'm tipping us to finish strong. I think we're going to have a stronger second half of the season now. Get a few people back from injury, and try and get as high up there as we can. Have a good cup run as well. Hopefully the FA Cup's definitely one to focus on. So
I think so. Yeah, it's a way of getting into Europe, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Jody, would you ever consider going into management, or is art that's you shook your head really quickly there? I'm thinking that it's a no.
Yeah, it's definitely a no. I made this decision when I retired. It was kind of, do I go with my head into coaching, management side, or do I go with my heart and do my art? I thought, well, if I go into coaching, I still miss the kids at Christmas. I still don't get to see them in the summer holidays. I have 3 boys, and I think they grow up so quick. And I'm thinking, I don't want that. I've worked really hard as a player to kind of put myself in a position where I can, paint. I think I'd have been on a fraction of the money if I was a coach. So you got to think of those things when you retire. And I think I was thinking, no, just not for me. Maybe there was a route in somewhere, but I was thinking, I run the kids' football teams. just locally, and that's more than enough. And it drives me absolutely nuts.
That's a full-time job in itself.
Yeah, I bet it is.
And I know I'd be a screamer and a shouter on the sideline, in the right manner. But but that's another thing. I love seeing managers which are up and out their seat, and like Klopp's always on that sideline screaming and shouting, in the right way, in the positive way. And I really like that. And I think that's what kind of manager I would have been, or that's what I am with the kids, to a certain degree. But yeah, I love painting. I've always done it at school as an A level, and I never wanted to be a painter. It was only that it was a hobby that kind of got a little bit out of hand when I was in Sunderland, and I just taught myself oil painting, and the more you do it, the better you get, and gets you to the level where you can start selling them.
Well, I don't know the first thing about art, but I did some research and had a look, and some of the stuff is absolutely incredible, Jody. To be fair,
and your son does it as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
he does. Yes, he listened. Something sunk in somewhere, and he has listened. But yeah, I suppose because he was the firstborn, and I wasn't doing the art professionally like I am, and so I'd have more time and I'd sit with him and go through stuff. I remember he sold a portrait his first portrait at the age of 9 for 150 quid of John Lennon, and it was really, really good. And don't get me wrong, I touched
a bloke
for him so I could sell it, so he could sell it. I actually delivered it to the bloke. I think the bloke lives in Starbridge. I delivered it to the bloke. He said, "I'm actually going to give you more money because it's so good."
Yes. What top man? Yeah. Hey, he might be onto something here, because it might be worth a lot more going forward. You never know, mate.
You never know. So we kind of went from there. It was tough work though. He'd be up and down watching telly and in and out, and I'd be like, driving. Then he had a quiet period for a couple of years and kind of kicked back onto it. And he's 16 now. He's doing a college course, college course, and he's more hands on himself. I don't need to get too involved too much. And he's designing in his own jumpers and bits and bobs at the minute, which is quite good.
Fantastic, and it's lovely, isn't it? Like you've said, you've put it in a nutshell, really, about the fact that lockdown can have a positive effect as well with some people, because you've got to spend a lot of time with the family. And I know that, like me and Craig, we're the same. We've been able to spend so much more time with our kids. And you're right, if you're a football coach, like look at Nuno, he can't go back to Portugal and see his family. So we need to probably cut him a little bit of slack, don't we? Really,
Yeah, so, it is tough. Like I said, kids got really quick, and I'd have hated if I wasn't here for Christmas anyway as a player, or you were sporadically. Exactly the same as a coach, probably more intense as a coach and longer hours as a coach. And I was thinking, what a thing to miss out on your kids.
Absolutely.
Just sitting around the table every single day, having a meal every single day. It's really, really important.
Yeah. Well, mate, it's been an absolute privilege to speak to you, and it's been lovely to actually speak about not just football, but your proper passion as well, your art, because it looks as though phenomenal. Well, behind you, that one's pretty decent. That one, yes, in full glory. Jody, it's been great to speak to you, and up the Wolves. Craig, you got anything else to add, kiddo?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Pleasure talking to you, Jody. Thank you for that.
All right, thank you. That's been Wandering Wolf, and that's been the brilliant Jody Craddock. Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.